No, I made it so you can't see him. Hi, it's Friday, May 2nd, and you can't see Biz in the background, so we should be safe because we're busy with you right now. Those of you who do, sorry, the three of you who managed to read the book, just be careful that there are spoilers coming up. I don't know if it's good or bad, but there is another death coming up, but it's not until the chapter right after we get done. So it's in chapter 9, so we should be safe with death through chapter 8. If you do read ahead, don't spoil what happens. If you are Honor Society and you want to go on the Kings Island trip, you have to have it turned in by Monday. I have order forms if you want one from me, or they are also on the Student Square. You can print those off, but I am turning in all of our stuff Monday for that one. It is the same day as the band, choir, orchestra trip. The thing is, we have a different bus, we have a different check-in system. They are a bit more restrictive because the band, choir, orchestra kids might have issues. We tend to have fewer issues, so that way we get to give you a bit more freedom with check-in while you're there and stuff like that. But that is up to you if you want to go.
Bro, all the slots are probably
Marin.
Do we have to see if the supposed to get one?
Yeah. Or you can go on Student Square when you get home.
Student Square! Woo!
Venti.
No.
I already took it with band. Don't take it off.
It means you're going with band.
Yes.
There you go. AJ.
Bro, it's probably already all filled up because like only the first 40 kids get to go, right?
Correct, but it's not filled up yet.
What?
I'm the one that's in control of it. So there's still room.
Oh my gosh.
Most kids wait till the last minute, so we'll see what happens on Monday.
I'm not even going.
There you go, problem solved. For you guys, we will be reading here in a moment. We're going to try, fingers crossed, to get through almost all of chapter 7. That will leave you chapter 8 for homework. If you did not finish chapter 6, that's your choice. Monday is going to be page 130. If you want to write that in your book, you can. It's your book to write in, but except for the kid who has my book. But other than that, you have till page 130. Monday, if you do well on quiz, that is where I will make you a button of your own design and choice that you can then make, and I should be able to get them made for you like the day after you give me whatever picture it is you want for it. Matthew.
What if the button was someone like, Takis? Can I do that?
Takis on your button?
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't bother with that. You can even put Matthew loves Takis. And you can put that on there too. That's fine with me too. Blard. We covered this with you guys. Blard. And we got past chapter 6. And we got past my favorite thing. Me saving kids. So many kids I want to save.
I've
Saving
never seen that
kids.
like that.
And then, the end of that chapter was finding out that Johnny now has broken spine and the fact that he is going to be apparently paralyzed. They don't say exactly where it is. It's somewhere in his back. I think he has control over his arms, but I don't think for sure. At least in this part of the book. This is where I'll begin with you guys. Chapter 7, page 100. Still in the waiting room. I think I can go to my next picture. So we all know what page it is. I can take it off the screen.
It's 105, right?
I'll put it on there. Now, there were 3 of us sitting in the waiting room waiting to hear how Dally and Johnny were. Then the reporters and the police came. They asked too many questions too fast and got me all mixed up. If you want to know the truth, I wasn't feeling real good in the first place. Felt kind of sick, really. And I'm scared of policemen anyway. The reporters fired one question right after another at me and got me so confused I didn't know what was coming on. Derry finally told them that I wasn't in any shape to be yelled at so much, and they slowed down a little. Derry's kind of big. Soda Pop kept them in stitches. He'd grab one guy's press hat and another's camera and walk around interviewing the nurses and mimicking TV reporters. He tried to lift a policeman's gun and then grinned so crazily when he was caught, the policeman had to grin too. Soda can make anyone grin. I do not recommend you guys do that, by the way, with Officer Alicia if you see her. She probably will not find it amusing if you try to take her. Actually, back up. Some of you, I think that'd be hilarious. You should definitely go up and try to grab her gun and let me know how it goes from here.
I've seen it before. She's nice
Jim.
to me.
She is? Try to grab her gun. Let me know how that goes.
She saw me in class before.
I managed to get a hold of some hair grease and comb my hair back so that it looked a little better before they got any pictures. I'd die if I got my picture in the paper with my hair looking so lousy. Derry and Soda Pop were in the pictures too. Jerry Wood told me that if Soda Pop and Derry hadn't been so good looking, they wouldn't have taken so many. That was public appeal, he said. Soda was really getting a kick out of all this. I guess he would have enjoyed it more if he hadn't been so serious, but he couldn't resist anything that caused that much excitement. I swear, sometimes he reminds me of a colt, like a baby horse. A four-legged Palomino colt that has to get his nose into everything. The reporters stared at him admiringly. I told you, he looks like a movie star. He kind of radiates. Finally, even Soda Pop got tired of the reporters. He gets bored of the same old thing after a time, and stretching out on the long bench, he put his head on Derry's lap and just went to sleep. I guess both of them were tired. It was late at night, and I knew they hadn't had much sleep during the week. Even while I was answering questions, I remembered that it had been only a few hours since I was sleeping off a smoke in the corner of the church. Already, it was an unreal dream, and yet, at the time, I couldn't have imagined any other world. Finally, the reporters started to leave, along with the police. One of them turned and asked, "So, what would you do right now, if you could do anything you wanted?" I looked at him tiredly. Take a bath? They thought that was pretty funny, but I meant it. I felt lousy. The hospital got real quiet after they left. The only noise was the nurse's soft footsteps and Soda's light breathing. Derry looked down at him and then grinned half-heartedly. He didn't get much sleep last night. He didn't get much sleep this week. He hardly slept at all. Soda said drowsily. We didn't either. The nurses wouldn't tell us anything about Johnny and Dally, so Derry got hold of the doctor. The doctor told us that we would only talk to the family. But Derry finally got it through the guy's head that we were about as much family as Dally and Johnny had. Oh, I did my best to try to create them in the waiting room. Feels like I've got pretty close.
That is not. Whoa! That was like.
It feels pretty lifelike.
It's giving.
Did it stand up?
It's like breaking.
It's about magic.
That does not look like brick.
It's about story.
Dally would be okay after 2 or 3 days in the hospital, he said. One arm was badly burned and would be scarred for the rest of his life, but he'd have full use of it in a couple of weeks. Dally will be okay, I thought. Dallas, he's always okay. He can take anything. It was Johnny I was worried about. He was in critical condition. His back had been broken when that piece of timber fell on him. He was in severe shock and suffering from third-degree burns. They were doing everything they could to ease the pain, although since his back was broken, he couldn't even... Sorry, you gotta stop it. Although since his back was broken, he couldn't even feel the burns below his waist. He kept calling for Dallas and Ponyboy. If he lived, if... Please, no, I thought, not if. The blood was draining from my face, and Derry put an arm across my shoulder and squeezed hard. Even if he lived, he'd be crippled for the rest of his life. You wanted it straight, you got it straight. Now, go home and get some rest. I was trembling. A pain was growing in my throat, and I wanted to cry. But greasers don't cry in front of strangers. Some of us never cry at all, like Dally and Two-Bit and Tim Shepard. They forgot how at an early age. Are we okay? Johnny, crippled for life? I'm dreaming, I thought in panic. I'm dreaming. I'm going to wake up at home or in the church and everything will be like it used to be. But I didn't believe myself. Even if Johnny did live, he'd be crippled and never play football or help us out in a rumble again. He'd have to stay in the house he hated, when he wasn't wanted, and things could never be like the way they used to be. I didn't trust myself to speak. I mean, why would I go to the back of the room after getting out of Struggle Town and then be so happy and then immediately start talking and lose points again? It was such a good question to ask. We should probably move that kid back to Struggle Town to go ahead and take care of the rest of today.
So then can I get my chip?
Oh, Fatima.
No, not you yet. Surprisingly enough, it's the kid that was in your old seat, which might be temporary also. We'll see.
Bro, you like the way I'm sitting?
Uh-huh. Oh, I'm aware. How about those choices?
Bro, this seat, like.
Yeah, I've been watching you spin in circles. It's hard to miss.
I know it's
Nasty.
I'm trying to just like get comfy.
Yeah.
Like I've been like this.
I don't know. Are you gonna shut the yapper?
Possibly.
How about this? I will give you the choice. You can either move over there, but if you stay there and talk again, I give you the detention. I'm happy either way.
I think I'll talk. Even if you talk over there, you're still gonna lose points. What?
I was trembling. A pain was growing in my throat, and I wanted to cry, but greasers don't cry in front of strangers. Some of us never cry at all, like Dally and Two-Bit and Tim Shepard. I mean, they forgot how at an early age. Johnny, crippled for life? Pfft, I'm dreaming, thought in panic. I'm dreaming. I'm gonna wake up at the house and the church, and everything will be like it used to be. But I didn't believe myself. Even if Johnny did live, he'd be crippled and never play football or help us out in a rumble again. He'd have to stay in that house he hated, where he wasn't wanted, and things could never be like they used to be. I didn't trust myself to speak. If I said one word, the hard knot in my throat would swell, and I'd be crying in spite of myself. I took a deep breath and kept my mouth shut. Good advice for some kids. Soda was awake by then. Although he looked stony-faced, as if he hadn't heard a word the doctor had said, his eyes were bleak and stunned. Serious reality had a hard time coming through to Soda. But when it does, it hits him hard. He looked like I felt when I'd seen that black-haired Soch lying doubled up and still in the moonlight. Derry was rubbing the back of my head softly. Whoa. Hey, we'd better go home. We can't do anything here. Yes, I'll go ahead and charge the points now. I know, the answer's 9, by the way.
No.
What? What did I do? 9?
Yes.
How was that 5?
No,
What
no.
did I go for?
What about the previous time? When they talked about him laying his head in the lap. And you said the thing then too? I hear it all. I just don't respond every time. I just let you keep digging your hole.
Mr. Burdick's smart.
Yeah. What that? I keep making bad choices? I had no idea. Uh-huh. Keep your mouth shut. That was good advice for that kid. Oh, there we go. We'd better get home. We can't do anything here. In our Ford, I was suddenly overcome by sleepiness. I leaned back and closed my eyes, and we were home before I knew it. Soda was shaking me gently. Hey, Pony Boy, wake up. You still gotta get in the house, kid. I said sleepily, and then lay down in the seat. I couldn't have gotten up to save my life. I could hear Soda and Derry, but as if from a great distance. Come on, Pony Boy, Soda pleaded, shaking me a little harder. We're sleepy too. I guess Derry was tired of fooling around, because he just picked me up and carried me in. He's getting mighty big and carried, Soda said. I wanted to tell him to shut up and let me sleep, but I only yawned. He sure lost a lot of weight, Derry said. I thought sleepily that I should at least pull off my shoes, but I didn't. I went to sleep the minute Derry tossed me on the bed. I'd forgotten how soft a bed really was. I was the first one up the next morning. Soda must have pulled my shoes and shirt off for me. I was still wearing my jeans. He must have been too sleepy to undress himself, though. He lay stretched out beside me, fully clothed. I wiggled out from under his arm and pulled the blanket up over him, then went to take a shower. Asleep? He looked a lot younger than going on 17. But I noticed that Johnny looked younger when he was asleep too, so I figured everyone did. Maybe people are younger when they're asleep. After my shower, I put on some clean clothes and spent 5 minutes or so hunting for a hint of beard on my face, mourning over my hair. That bum haircut made my ears stick out. Derry was still asleep when I went into the kitchen to fix breakfast. The first one up has to fix breakfast, and the other two do the dishes. That's the rule around our house, and usually it's Derry who fixes breakfast, and me and Soda who are left with the dishes. I hunted through the icebox and found some eggs. We all like our eggs done differently. I like them cooked hard. Derry likes them in a bacon and tomato sandwich, and Soda Pop eats his eggs with grape jelly. All three of us like chocolate cake for breakfast. Mom had never allowed it with ham and eggs, but Derry let Soda and me talk him into it. We really didn't have to twist his arm. Derry loves chocolate cake as much as we do. Soda Pop always makes sure there's some in the icebox every night. And if there isn't, he cooks one up real quick. I like Derry's cakes better. Soda Pop always puts too much sugar in the icing. I don't see how he stands jelly and eggs and chocolate cake all at once, but he seems to like it. Derry drinks black coffee. Soda Pop and I drink chocolate milk. We could have coffee if we wanted it. We like chocolate milk. All three of us are crazy about chocolate stuff. Soda says if they ever make a chocolate cigarette, that I'll have it made. I have my next picture. Anybody home? A familiar voice called through the front screen, and 2-Bit and Steve came in. We always just stick our heads into each other's houses and holler, "Hey!" and walk in. Our front door is always unlocked in case one of the boys is hacked off his parents and needs a place to lay over and cool off. We never could tell who we'd find stretched out on the sofa in the morning. It was usually Steve, whose father told him about once a week to get out and never come back. It kind of bugs Steve, even if his old man does give him $5 or $6 the next day to make up for it. Or it might be Dally, who lived anywhere he could. Once, we even found Tim Shepard, leader of the Shepherd gang and far from his own turf, reading the morning paper in the armchair. He merely looked up and said, "Hi," and then strolled out without staying for breakfast. 2-Bit's mother warned us about burglars, but Derry, flexing his muscles so that they bulged like oversized baseballs, drawled that he wasn't afraid of any burglars, and that we didn't really have anything worth stealing. He'd risk a robbery, he said, if it meant keeping one of the boys from blowing up and robbing a gas station or something. So the door was never locked. "In here!" I yelled, forgetting that Derry and Soda Pop were still asleep. "Hey, don't slam the..." They slammed the door, of course, and 2-Bit came running into the kitchen. He caught me on the upper arms and swung me around, ignoring the fact that I had 2 uncooked eggs in my hand. "Hey, Pony Boy! Long time no see!" You would have thought it'd been 5 years instead of 5 days since I'd seen him last, but I didn't mind. I like old 2-Bit. He's a good buddy to have. He spun me into Steve, who gave me a playful slap on my bruised back and then shoved me across the room. One of the eggs went flying and landed on the clock, and I tightened my grip on the other one, and it ended up getting crushed and ran all over my hand. "Now look what you did!" I griped. "There went our breakfast. Can't you two wait till I set the eggs down before you go shoving me all over the country?" I really was a little mad, because I had just realized how long it'd been since I'd eaten anything. The last thing I'd eaten was a hot fudge sundae at the Dairy Queen in Windrixville. I was hungry. 2-Bit was walking in a slow circle around me, and I sighed. I knew what was coming. "Man, Dick Baldy here." He was staring at my head as he circled me. I wouldn't have believed it. I thought all the wild Indians in Oklahoma had been tamed. What little squaws got that tough-looking mop of yours, Pony Boy? It was. I'm not disagreeing with you on that one. Back in the 1960s. Oh, by the way, I'm also proud of you guys for recognizing that racism. Go, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Don't go, "Yay, racism!" That's "Oh, lay off," I said. I wasn't feeling too good in the first place. Kind of like I was coming down with something. 2-Bit winked at Steve. Steve said, "Why, he had to get a haircut to get his picture in the paper. They'd never believe a greasy-looking mug could be a hero. How do you like being a hero, big shot?" What? Being a hero. You know. He shoved the morning paper at me impatiently. Like a big shot even. I stared at the newspaper. On the front page of the second section was the headline, Juvenile Delinquents Turn Heroes. What I like is the turn bit, 2-Bit said, cleaning the egg up off the floor. Y'all were heroes from the beginning. You just didn't turn it all of a sudden. I hardly heard him. I was reading the paper. That whole page was covered with stories about us. The fight, the murder, the church burning, the socias being drunk, everything. My picture was there with Derry and Soda Pop. The article told how Johnny and I had risked our lives saving those little kids, and there was a comment from one of the parents who said that they would all have burned to death if it hadn't been for us. It told the whole story of our fight with the socias. Only the paper didn't say socias because most grown-ups don't know about the battles that go on between us. They interviewed Cherry Valens, and she said Bob had been drunk and that the boys had been looking for a fight when they took her home. Bob had told her he'd fix us for picking up his girl. His buddy, Randy Anderson, who had helped jump us, also said it was their fault and that we'd only fought back in self-defense. But they were charging Johnny with manslaughter. Then I discovered that I was supposed to appear at juvenile court for running away, and Johnny was too, if he recovered. Not if, I thought again. Why did I keep saying if? For once, there weren't any charges against Dowie, and I knew he'd be mad because the paper made him out as a hero for saving Johnny and didn't say much about his police record, which he was kind of proud of. He'd kill those reporters if he got hold of them. There was another column about just Derry and Soda and me, how Derry worked on 2 jobs at once and made good at both of them, and about his outstanding record at school. It mentioned Soda Pop dropping out of school so we could stay together, and that I made the honor roll at school all the time and might be a future track star. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I'm on the A squad track team. I'm the youngest one. I'm a good runner. Then it said we shouldn't be separated after we'd worked so hard to stay together. The meaning of that last line finally hit me. Wait, you mean that they're thinking about putting me in Soden like boys' home or something? Steve was carefully combing back his hair in complicated swirls. Yeah, something like that. I sat down in a daze. We couldn't get hauled off now. Not after me and Derry had finally gotten through to each other. And now that the big rumble was coming up and we could settle the Soch Greaser thing once and for all. Not now. And Johnny needed us and Dally was still in the hospital and wouldn't be out for the rumble. No! I said out loud. 2-Bit, who was scraping egg off the clock, turned to stare at me. No, what? No! They ain't gonna put us in a boys' home. Don't worry about it, Steve said, sure that he and Soda Pop could handle anything that came up. They don't do things like that to heroes. Where's Soda and Superman? That was as far as he got, because Derry, shaved and dressed, came in behind Steve and lifted him up off the floor, then dropped him. We all called Derry Superman, or Muscles, at one time or another, but one time, Steve made the mistake of referring to him as all brawn and no brain, and Derry almost shattered Steve's jaw. Steve didn't call him that again, but Derry never forgave him. Derry has never really gotten over the not going to college thing. That was the only time I've ever seen Soda mad at Steve, although Soda attaches no importance to education. School bored him. There's just no action. Soda came running in. Hey, where's that blue shirt I washed yesterday? He took a swig of chocolate milk out of the container. I hate to tell you, buddy, Steve said, still flat on the floor, but you have to wear clothes to work. There's like a law or something? Oh, yeah, Soda said. Hey, wear those weak jeans, too. I ironed them. They're in my closet. Now, hurry up, you're going to be late. Soda ran back, muttering, I'm hurrying. Steve followed him, and in a second, there was the general racket of a pillow fight. I absentmindedly watched Derry as he searched the icebox for chocolate cake. Hey, Derry, did you know about the juvenile court? Without turning to look at me, he said evenly, Yeah, cops told me last night. I knew then that he realized we might get separated. I didn't want to worry him anymore, but I said, Hey, I had one of those dreams last night, one I can't remember. Derry spun around to face me, genuine fear on his face. What? Okay. I had a nightmare the night of Mom and Dad's funeral. I'd had nightmares and wild dreams every once in a while when I was little, but nothing like this one. Like, I woke up screaming bloody murder, and I never could remember what it was that scared me. It scared Soda Pop and Derry almost as bad as it scared me. For night after night, for weeks on end, I would dream this dream and then wake up in a cold sweat or screaming. And I never could remember exactly what had happened in it. Soda began sleeping next to me, and it stopped recurring so often. But it happened often enough for Derry to take me to a doctor. The doctor said I had too much imagination. He had a simple cure, too. You should study harder, read more, draw more, play football more. After a hard game of football and 4 or 5 hours of reading, I was too exhausted, mentally and physically, to dream anything. But Derry never got over it, and every once in a while he would ask me if I ever dreamed anymore. Was it very bad? Too big question. He knew the whole story, and having never dreamed out anything but blonde women, he was interested. No, I lied. I had awakened in a cold sweat and shivering, but Soda was dead to the world. I had just wiggled closer to him and stayed awake for a couple of hours, trembling under his arm. That dream always scared the heck out of me. Derry started to say something, but before he could begin, Soda Pop and Steve came in. You know what? Soda Pop said to no one in particular. When we stomp the socias good, me and Stevie here, we're going to throw a big party, and everyone can get, it says stoned, but then they meant drunk. Marijuana was not a thing that existed at this time. So stoned just was another term for being really drunk. And everybody can get stoned. Then we're going to go close this church. Then we'll chase those socias clear to Mexico. Where are you going to get the dough for that party, little man? Derry had found the cake and was handing out pieces. I'll think of something, Soda Pop assured him between bites. Oh, are you going to take Sandy to the party? I asked, just to be saying something. Instant silence. I looked around. What? What's the deal? Soda Pop was staring at his feet, but his ears were getting red. No, she had to go live with her grandmother in Florida. What? How come? Look! Steve said, surprisingly angry. Does he have to draw you a picture? It was either that or get married. And her parents almost hit the roof at the idea of her marrying a 16-year-old kid. 17? Soda said softly. I'll be 17 in a couple of weeks. I said, embarrassed. Now, Soda was no innocent. I'd been in on bowl sessions, and his bragging was as loud as anyone's, but never about Sandy. Not ever about Sandy. I remembered how her blue eyes had glowed when she looked at him. He was sorry for her, and I was sorry for her. To pause there real quick. That's a reference to something I don't think you're going to understand, but here's what it's telling you. You remember Sandy from the beginning of the book was the girlfriend that Soda Pop was talking about, and the fact that, like, Ponyboy was like, I like her, she seems nice, she's not like all the other scary greaser girls. Apparently Soda Pop and
Amelia.
Sandy, I forgot her name. Between Soda Pop and Sandy, they made a decision, and because of the choice they made, now she either has to get married to him or has to go live with family for 9 months, and then she gets to
pregnant.
And
She's
so,
pregnant?
and that's what happened, is apparently she got pregnant.
The baby's about to
And so, because of that, during this time period, in order to, if you were a teenager and you got pregnant, your parents would either make you get married, but at 16, he has no way of supporting her. So the other option is you would go move away and live with family until the baby was born, and then usually you would put it up either for adoption or you would come back, and then all of a sudden you would have a younger sibling. And that was the thing that would happen during this time period. But when we get farther into the book, we're going to find out it's even worse than that. And they find out more information, but I don't want to give that away. Next.
Is the baby Ralph Macchio?
It is not Ralph Macchio. But a good try.
Wait.
Yes.
How is it their younger sibling? That doesn't make any sense.
No, it's because, like, they're,
'Cause-
it's, no,
It's not
crazy.
there.
Crazy.
No.
What it is, like, they hide it from, like, them, so, like, they don't know that like their older sister is their mom.
Correct.
And that their parents are their grandparents. So they basically just
They're lying to people because you didn't want it. The whole thing was about you didn't want to embarrass the family. And so what happened is as soon as your parents knew you were pregnant, you would leave, and then when you came back, all of a sudden they'd be like, hey, look, the girl's back. And, by the way, did you know my wife was pregnant, and she had a baby? And people were like, really? And they're like, yeah. Now, most people knew what happened, but we pretended. And so this gave you a reason to pretend.
Can you fix your mic?
Does it keep
like scratching and making.
I'll just turn it off.
How do you make it?
It's because the battery's getting old. I'm going to try to switch to the new one. I just haven't had a chance to get it working. I didn't mean to make it scratchy. There you go. There was a heavy silence, and then Derry said, hey, we better get on to work, Pepsi Cola. Derry rarely called soda by Dad's pet nickname for him. But he did so then because he knew how miserable Soda Pop was about Sandy. I hate to leave you here by yourself, Pony Boy, Derry said slowly. Maybe I ought to take the day off. I've stayed by my lonesome before. You can't afford a day off. Yeah, but you just got back. I really ought to stay. Nah, I'll babysit him, Two-Bit said, ducking as I took a swing at him. I haven't got anything better to do. Why don't you get a job, Steve said. Did you ever consider working for a living? Work? Two-Bit says aghast. What? Ruin my rep? I wouldn't be babysitting the kid here if I knew of some good day nursery open on Saturdays. I pulled his chair over backward and jumped on him. But he had me down in a second. I was kind of short on wind. I've got to cut out smoking or I won't make track next year. I think that one, he is the one in the bottom right. Holler, Uncle! No, I said, struggling. But I didn't have my usual strength. Derry was pulling on his jacket. Hey, you two do up the dishes. You can go to the movies, or you can look up here if you want. Gio? Gio. I also put it up there.
Oh, yeah.
You two do up the dishes. You can go to the movies if you want to before you go see Dally and Johnny. He paused for a second, watching Two-Bit squash the heck out of me. Hey, Two-Bit, lay off him. He ain't looking so good. Pony Boy, you better take a couple of aspirin and go easy. You smoke more than a pack today, I'm gonna skin you. Understood? Yeah. By the way, a pack of cigarettes a day is crazy for a 14-year-old.
My dad's girlfriend.
That is so much. The fact that he's like, you smoke more than, it's, by the way, I think, I never smoked, but I think it's like 20 or 25 cigarettes.
No, it's like 15 now. And like, cause at my dad's girlfriend, she smokes like a lot.
Oh my
it's
God,
like a pack a day.
I could not imagine.
Yeah, like my dad will get back and she'll smoke and if you just smell like
My parents were the same way. I hated it.
My grandpa smoked his teeth away.
Smoke.
No, like he has no teeth.
Because my parents smoked, I didn't ever do it.
My grandpa was a coach.
No.
While being in college.
Yeah, I said, getting to my feet. If you carry more than one bundle of roofing at a time today, me and Soda are going to skin you, okay? He grinned one of his rare grins. Yeah. All right, I'll see y'all this afternoon. Bye, I said. I heard a Ford's vroom and thought, Soda's driving, and they left. Anyway, I was walking around downtown, and I started to take this shortcut through an alley. Two-Bit was telling me about one of his many exploits while we did the dishes. I mean,